Hi, hey, Blue Collar Heathen is already here. Thank you for joining me. I'm just gonna let people pile up a little, just so that we can get some stuff going. And I'm gonna keep my just browser open, just so I can see the questions and comments and stuff. How is everyone's day though? I'm ultra tired because this week has been really stressful and emotionally draining, and the whole ISIS community on Twitter is just on my back today. Hey, Pakistani Atheist. I'm just posting to the peeps on Twitter so that they know to find me, because I know I've got 3,000 of them and 1,000 of you guys, so some people are missing out for no reason. Um, hmm. You got the chat open? Yep. So I'm not really sure what to talk about today. There's been some drama, but I'm kind of over it. It's kind of just really dumb, like really stale drama with Asadullah on Twitter. I've just posted like a final video today, just a compilation of the shit that he's been saying. Just because it's such dead drama. Like, it's so boring and it's so cringe. And it's unbelievable how full of himself he is. Like, it's so, and it's funny. Like, I know of a few people who've made like a couple of troll accounts just to troll him. He said something, because I had said in my video, like, I can't understand how someone could name themselves the Lion of God as soon as they become a convert, and then make that their legal name. And then he subtweeted me and said something like, "Oh, Asadullah is a name that my teacher or my sheikh gave me." And I'm just like, okay, so somebody says something good about you and then you make it your legal name. It's a little bit ridiculous. It's a little bit cringe, a little bit crazy. I don't like, it's a little ridiculous that you would do that. That's just me. Maybe I'm just strange here, but that's what I think anyway. Um Yeah, maybe it's because of the holidays coming up. I think it is. I think some people think that the petty approach works when they're trying to build an audience, or they're trying to. I think they think that drama drives views, which it does, but it's not a good look when you're trying to be like a respectable public figure. Like, in my case, I'm just trying to be a social media star at this. I don't know what I'm trying to do. A lot of my content is um, a little different. So I talk about Islam, I talk about mental health, I talk about, my life, and I do a lot of story times, and I do these live streams. But when your focus is to just be the good face of like a company, I think it's really really sad that you would stoop so low as to just get into this like petty drama. And he's like super insecure, and I don't want to exacerbate that. So I'm kind of done with that drama. I've just like muted everyone, and I'm over it. Like, I'm so done with it. Um, Ben Grant asked, Pakistani Atheist, do gingers have souls? I love gingers, so I'm not even gonna get started in that argument. But hi Nigel, hi everybody. Welcome to the live stream. There's a few of you who have gathered now, so that's fun. Pakistani Atheist said, what is your opinion of Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawa's teacher, Haytham al-Haddad, who essentially is a Muslim Brotherhood representative in the UK? To be fair, oh, I just want to say, before I answer that question, I've made a few of you, because I didn't use the live stream very often before, I've made a few of you moderators, and I would like to say that if anything comes up as spam, to allow it. Especially, like, I want to, I want to invite people to say whatever they want in the chat, on my channel, in the chat, on my Twitter. I want to invite anyone to say whatever thing they want to say, whether it's vile, whether it's disgusting, whether it's good, bad, ugly, beautiful, like whatever it is. I want everyone to have their say and be able to talk about whatever they want. Now, in regards to Haytham al-Haddad, I used to listen to him a lot when I was a Muslim. A lot of his views are quite problematic. I didn't pay attention to a lot of the political stuff he talked about because I wasn't into politics. I still am not into politics. You're welcome, blue collar heathen. I'm still not very up to speed with politics, especially in the Muslim world. It's not my area of focus. But in terms of what he teaches, I'm not for it. He's openly homophobic, he's openly misogynistic, whatever he might say, that's, the stuff that he talks about is clearly not in line with a secular society. So it's, I have no interest in Haytham al-Haddad and what he has to say now. But it makes a lot of sense that Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah's teachings come from Haytham al-Haddad. I'm not sure what else you wanted me to comment on in terms of that. I would like to say that now that there's a few of you watching, that I've launched some merch, but it's basically just some of my artwork that I've put on Redbubble. If you guys would be interested in that, that's a really loud click. Girl, you're outing how old your PC is. But I have some examples here, and there are other styles if you go through them. I've just put it in the chat. There are other styles of t-shirts, dresses, tote bags, phone cases, whatever, that you might be interested. Hey Halima, welcome to the chat. It's lovely to see you here. For those of you who don't know, Ex-Muslim Somali Voices is run by Halima Salat. She is an ex-Muslim activist in the Netherlands, and her channel, we need to grow her channel because the ex-Muslim Somali experience is slightly different to the ex-Muslim experience in general, because there seems to be a collective experience in terms of that. So please do and subscribe to her, because a lot of the things that she talks about is really, really important. It's very close to my heart. We've had I did a video with her while I was in the Netherlands, so please do check out her channel and what she's posted there. I hope you put up more content, because you need to be consistent, you need to keep it popping. But yeah, for those of you who are asking about my nails, so I did a live stream with my best friend Alicia 2 days ago, on Friday. I did that live stream, and she was feeling self-conscious the day after because of the shit that went down. So I had unlisted it, and yesterday she did my nails, and we've lost 2 men in throughout the day. They're fake nails, but she did such an amazing job crafting them and creating them. So I'm loving them, but they've severely debilitated me from using my hands. So I'm having a really hard time typing, which is why it's good because it's limited my use of social media, which is something I need to do anyways. But yeah, it's an interesting experience. I've never had claws or acrylics or fake nails. I'm desperate to take some of them off just because of how difficult it is to use my hands, but they're so beautiful that I don't want to. So yeah, I've saved one of them. I don't know where the other one went, so I'm gonna glue the other one back on. Thank you, Blue Collar Heathen, for saying they look pretty cool. They are. I'll make a close-up. I don't know how good the camera is gonna show them, but look at how, oh, they're not focusing at all, but they're really, really pretty. This one is my favorite one, so I'm hoping that one doesn't fall off. But and she knows my brand is a lion and a tiger, so she did that. She's honestly my best friend. She's my sister. I love her. So yeah, and she did my hair purple and blue. So, and because we're sisters, she just loves like sitting me down and like doing all these things to me, because she grew up an only child, so she didn't have that experience of like annoying the fuck out of her sibling, so she does that to me, and it's great because I love having these things done to me. um I'm gonna make Halima a moderator as well, actually. I need to do that. Also, I'm aware that you can do super chats. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that works, but you know, I'm not gonna refuse free money. So if you wanted to do that, go ahead. Also, I have my Patreon and my PayPal linked in my description. So if you're up for that, go for it as well. Obviously, there's no obligation. Like, this is a free service. It's YouTube. But I would appreciate it. Also, all my social media links and stuff are in the description. So my Twitter, my Instagrams, and everything else. So if you want to check those out, go ahead. So from Pakistani Atheist, why do people in Dhaka dislike people from Sylhet? I don't know. Bengalis hate Bengalis, honestly. um, they do, like, if we're talking completely honestly, I'm not entirely sure. Dhaka is like much more, from what I've experienced, Dhaka is a lot more secular than Sylhet. Sylhet is a village. I was born in Sylhet. My family's from Sylhet. My Bafur Bari, or my dad's home, is in Uttar Mulaim, which is in Molvi Bazar, and my mum's home is in Borat, which is also in Molvi Bazar, which is in Sylhet. So that's the tea on that. Sylhet is a lot more Islamic. There's some Deobandis there, there's some Barelvis there. They have like other stuff. There's Dorgas all around Bangladesh. But I think the main competition between Dhaka and Sylhet is that I think the cultural capital of Bangladesh is Sylhet. Like, for all of you Dhaka stands out there, it is. Like, if you want to experience like rural Bangladesh, you got to go to Sylhet and you got to go to the villages and stuff. But when it comes to Dhaka, that's definitely the commercial capital. And you know, the actual capital, like the actual capital of Bangladesh is Dhaka. So if you want to experience like the city life and stuff, you better go to Dhaka. But every Bengali that I have met has some shit to say about some other Bengali. I don't know why. It's just how it is. J-Lo says, I've never had a sister and no close female friends. Totes jealous. The nails look awesome. Honestly, before I met Alicia, I had very, very few close friends. I had some online friends. But before I met Alicia, I had very, very few close friends. And initially when I met her, I never thought that we would be as close as we are. But we're the close, because our personalities are completely different. Like, she's chill and calm and she doesn't like getting involved in bullshit. And I'm the complete opposite. Like, bullshit is my turf. So it's really nice that I have that there, and like, it doesn't really matter that we don't have like a ton personality-wise in common. We always get along, we make each other laugh, we always, like, if I don't see her for a week, I literally feel like I'm losing my mind. I have to see her as often as possible, and I'm really, while I wish her success, because she wants to work abroad, while I wish her success and all of that stuff, I would honestly be just so disappointed if she moved away, because I would need to like invest so much to go and see her as frequently as possible. So yeah. Thank you for linking my Patreon, Blue Collar Heathen. Do we have any other? I would love to put bullshit is my turf on a t-shirt. I need to invest some more time into my artwork so that I can create more of the merch stuff. I'm not entirely sure how to market it right now, because the Patreon, not the Patreon, the Redbubble interface is kind of stupid to work with, because it doesn't really showcase all the work like how I would like it to showcase it. So I might need to like create a web page so that it showcases it properly. I don't know, I'm still kind of figuring it out. I'll add more to the Redbubble page as well as we go along, but I've just kind of sent out like a test page. I'll probably be throwing some stuff up on Twitter, so if you aren't following me on Twitter, I'm at AngusBreadThin. So yeah, I would love to put that on a t-shirt though. I have a few other things that I want to put on t-shirts, especially like different things that I've said, just because I say a lot of things. Like, talking is my strength, and I wish I could just talk for a living, but as it stands, I gotta work up to that. Oh, for those of you who didn't catch my speech in Bristol, I've uploaded the audio to my channel. Let me see if I can find it and I'll link it in the chat really quickly. I was actually really proud of that speech, but it was nothing like the other people. It was nothing like everyone else's speech, because my speech was ultra poetic. It's also a great example of why I don't script a lot of my videos, or most of my videos. The reason why is because I come off as really, really like contrived, and I don't want that. I want it to be authentic. I want you guys to see my working when I'm talking. Like, I want the ums and the ahs and my thought process to come out. And I don't want it to be just like this polished, finished piece. It's also why my videos are so long. Like, they'd be much shorter if I actually scripted them. But they're not. They're not. And I don't want them to be short. I want people who, actually want to have a conversation with me, want to, see my working, want to see all my thoughts. That's what I want. So that's what I'm going for. I will address what Pakistani Atheist is saying in just a sec. Do you see how hard it is to type with these fucking nails? Is anyone doing anything interesting today? So Pakistani Atheist said, should ex-Muslims in the Muslim world start creating communities where they can live together and protect one another? Should we in the West attempt to arm them so they can effectively... No. I don't like the idea of firearms. I know I have quite a few American followers, and I don't like gun laws. I don't think that people should, and here's my thought process. Like, obviously I'm not the most educated about it, because I've grown up in the UK. We have significant amounts of knife crime here in the UK, in London anyway, which we have been actively fighting against for over 15 years now. Like, it was a thing way back when I was a kid. And we're still talking about it, and we're still trying to work it down. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that there aren't many youth outlets here in London anymore because of the Conservative government. I'm not a Conservative, for those of you who are wondering. In terms of gun laws, and the reason why I'm so against it, I feel like we'd have so many more problems here in London if guns were allowed, if people could legally have guns. With the attack that happened at London Bridge, I haven't read all the stories yet, and I'm still reading through a lot of them as the tale unfolds. And I want to make a comment about it, but it's really difficult because I don't like commenting on tragedies as soon as they happen. I feel like that's exploitative. I didn't do it when the New Zealand thing happened, which was horrific. I just want to process it. I want people to, talk about the tragedy because they're sad about the tragedy. I don't want it to be hijacked by political agendas, by people. Like, I've seen a lot of gun nuts just going ham and saying that this is why we need guns. Imagine that motherfucking nutcase had a gun. Like, imagine that motherfucker had a gun, how much more damage he could have done. Like, that he was disarmed by a civilian, by a pedestrian, because he was wielding a knife. That prevented so many more stabbings that could have occurred. 5 people were injured in the attack. 2 people have died. One of them was a 25-year-old graduate, which is heartbreaking because I'm not even 25. Like, I can't imagine, like, the loss that family is feeling. But imagine that nutcase had a gun. Like, guns were accessible in this country, and that nutcase had a gun. I've heard the argument, like, if those people had a gun, then maybe they could have shot him down. But imagine the chaos that would have ensued if everyone in that situation had a gun. How many more people would have been injured? How much more damage would have been created? I don't think that we should isolate communities. I'm all for integration. I think that religion should be kept out of our schools. I don't like the idea of faith schools. I think that religion should be kept out of our political systems. And I don't like the idea of segregating communities, and, even arming minority communities is a bad idea. I hate it. I don't like it. And yes, as an ex-Muslim, as someone who is an ex-Muslim, I can say that a lot of us are, under threat, not nearly as much as those in the East and in the Middle East, but certainly to an extent here in the UK and in Western countries, but I would never, ever preach arming us as a minority community. It's a bad idea. I can't think of a worse idea of isolating people. So how was Bristol received? John Blake asked, how was Bristol received? So that my speech in Bristol was received very, very well. I made some very significant contacts. It was in collaboration with Faith to Faithless, which is a big ex-religious organization here in the UK. And they want me to do more speeches in the coming year in 2020. So I'm really looking forward to that. I actually want to speak a lot more. So for those of you who want me to speak at your venues, as long as you pay expenses, I'm down. Like, invite me. I'm here for it. I would love to. I'd never, until that point, I'd never spoken publicly, and I just got such a rush from it. I love it, and it gives me a chance to reinvest into my writing, which has been severely lacking over the last few years because I've been so busy with, my 9 to 5, with this, with everything else in my life. So yeah. Hi, Mickey. Welcome to the chat. Pakistani Atheist said, I feel as though atheists and freethinkers are constantly on the back foot in some Muslim countries, and the only option they have is to comply with the Islamists or run to the West. I think we need a better approach than violence. We need a better approach than violence, because I feel like violence, while historically it has been effective in some instances, when you look at civil rights movements in the last 100 years or so, the civil rights movement in America, the feminist movement here, in the West, I think that while the radical approach has had some significant effect, I think there is a merit to having an intellectual approach as well. I think that we need to raise awareness in Islamic countries. We are seeing a rising understanding in Muslim communities for, apostates, for the LGBT community, for all kinds of things. We are seeing a positive and a change for the positive. It's the radicals we need to fight against. It's the Salafis, the Wahhabis, it's the radicals we need to intellectually fight against and make them understand that discourse is really, really important. But I don't like the idea. I really, really don't like the idea of arming minority communities and creating violence in those countries, because I feel as though that would create more problems than good. But you're right, we are on the back foot in Muslim countries, and the ex-Muslim movement is a very new movement. It hasn't had a lot of pickup until very, very recently, and that's why we need younger ex-Muslims, 18-year-olds, up to maybe 25. We need a lot more young Muslims to come out and talk. We need young ex-Muslims in these countries to talk. The only problem is that it's so dangerous for them to talk. Their lives could be at risk, not just from the mob, but also from the law itself. Like we saw with Sinin Kafir, who's had to go dark on Twitter. I had to remove a video that he was in on my channel. He had to disappear from his own platform. And we've had other examples as well. Even for those in the West. And I'm not going to say any names. I don't want to create problems for that person. But yeah, we've seen ex-Muslims both in the West and in the Middle East, in the East, in South Asia, just go dark because their voice is being policed by the law. That's something that has to fall first, and then I feel like we can make a bigger impact. Moving on. JLo says, adding to what I was talking about knife crime and gun crime, it's not like there's no knife crime in the US, which there is. There's a lot of crime in the US. Phil Susam, I hope I'm saying that right, says that the only way to diffuse and deflate the cult of Islam is through the internet, and the internet has brought out an understanding about hadiths and verses of the Quran that were unknown to Muslims, or as he says, Mohammedans. I don't like using that term. This feels like an icky term. But yeah, I do think the internet has a huge role to play in, furthering people's understanding of Islam. And I would like to say, I have Muslim friends. I have loads of Muslim friends, and even like the live stream that I did on Friday, the person who bought me the palmistry kit was a Muslim. She's one of my closest Muslim friends, and you know, I love spending time with her. Um, And I would like to say that many Muslims are unaware of how damaging some of the teachings that exist in the Quran and the Hadith are. Like, I only know those things because I came from quite a fundamentalist sect. And if you come from that kind of background, I think it's easier for you to understand things like that. But when you grow up in the West, you are, you know, you're liberal. I think it's unlikely that you'd know all those things because you're only really being taught good things. You're only really being taught to pray and fast and do cultural things. So yeah, obviously in the East and in the Middle East, it's a lot more prevalent. Like the things that are taught in Islamic schools, like I was taught, would be normalized completely. Whereas here in the West, it's like pedophilia, arranged marriages, even forced marriages. Even though technically forced marriages aren't Islamic, those things aren't normalized here. But people in the East, in the Middle East, in South Asia, like I'm trying to cover all my bases here, it's normalized for them, you know? So the internet has a huge part to play in educating those people and telling those people that, hey, getting married at 9 years old is not normal, you know, fucking a kid is not normal, and things like that. Hi, Gishala, I hope I'm saying that right, Gishala John, shalom alaikum, salam alaikum, peace be upon you. Welcome to the live chat. Ahmed Muhammad says, oh wait, that comment's disappeared. Sorry. Ahmed Muhammad says it's really hard for us in the Middle East. I completely sympathize with that. And I had a few arguments earlier this week with a few ex-Muslims who were frustrated about us Western ex-Muslims having so much pickup. I would just like to say that I could never fathom comparing my experience as an ex-Muslim to the experience of someone who lives in a country where their thoughts are policed. Like, I've expressed that on a number of occasions. Like, I cannot fathom that. I would probably take in my own life if that was the case for me, if I could not think as I wanted to think. Because to me, it's such a basic thing to want. So I completely sympathize with that, and I hope that, you know, we see a change in the coming years in the Middle East, in South Asia, in the East in general. John Blake says, I can't imagine the talk going down well in UEL with 3 out of 4 of my friends there are Muslims. Yeah, the University of East London, I'm not sure. I would love to give a speech there, first of all. It would be a security risk, though, but I would love to give a speech there. I wanted to invite the ISOC in Bristol to attend my speech, but I was notified that they would probably see it as an attack to invite them to an apostasy, which I don't understand why. Like, come learn about the minorities in your community. Just come and listen. Like, it can't hurt you. I don't understand this, like, this adverse, like, oh, don't put doubts in my mind. Like, if you're strong in what you believe, dare to question what you believe. Like, if you believe in what you believe, if your faith is strong, what have you got to fear? Like, just do it. Just do it. So Nigel Sukram says, hey Faye, what's your message, if any, to non-Muslims about practicing Muslims living in the West? Obviously, internet trolls are not the same as real-life person living, breathing in front of you. I'm not anti-theistic. I don't realistically see religion going anywhere, because I feel like delusions and religion are a way of coping with the reality that we're all afraid to die. And I feel like that's legit. You know, my mother was religious. She died of cancer. Religion is something that gave her peace. Whereas I also have, I play devil's advocate with myself that if she wasn't religious, then maybe she would have enjoyed the last 6 months of her life. But religion did give her a sense of peace and, calm during the end of her life. So I could never imagine taking that away from her. And I know that that's like an anecdotal example. Like, a lot of people call me out on that, but there's merit to emotion, and I don't know why people like boo it down so much. Emotion is something that we all experience. Emotion is something that we can all resonate with. Emotion is something that we can all talk about and say, yes, I've experienced that. So there's weight in that discussion, in my opinion. But in terms of practicing Muslims living in the West, as long as they're not imposing anything on you or on anyone else, I don't see a problem with it. I have Salafi friends. I have an ex-Muslim, Ali Malik, who's a friend of mine. He has Salafi friends who he constantly has discussions with, which is fine. I think that there should be a share of information, and people should be, in a very Hitchens way, I think that if you don't allow yourself to hear every single possible argument, you're denying yourself the right to listen to other ideas and other opinions. And I think that that's really important for living as a human being, experiencing your life as a human being, living for thrill. Part of that is, meeting new people and understanding new ideas. And, as long as there's no violence, as long as there's no pressure to behave in a certain way, I have no problem with practicing Muslims in the West. I genuinely don't. Internet trolls are internet trolls. It's not a true representation of how people are, I think. Because like I said, Ali Dawah's behavior online as opposed to how he is in person is very different. Very, very different. I met him in person. We had, an amicable chat in the least. So, I would say it's better to, in terms of engagement and having a discourse, I would say that it's better to have that discourse in person. But obviously, the internet's the internet. Ex-Muslim Somali Voices says civil rights and humanist movements in Muslim world can make an actual difference, and I completely agree. We need to promote humanist movements to go there. Also, those of you who are on Twitter, please do share the live stream because I'm really enjoying this. Mo Ghalib says, what about the Japanese atheist abusers article that someone posted on Twitter? Why don't you pin it on your profile? Because I still haven't read that article. And because it's not really relevant to my experience. When I talk about Muslims, I came from a Muslim background. I'm still ingrained in the Muslim community. We're still a minority within a minority. So when I talk about issues surrounding Muslims, it surrounds me. I'm not a Japanese person. I don't live in Japan. I don't follow Japanese media. I don't think it's important for me to pin anything to my profile that you want me to pin. I know exactly who you are. So, welcome, Rakib, to the chat. It's not relevant to me, so it's not something that I'm going to talk about. I do talk about misogyny in general quite frequently. It doesn't necessarily have to be targeted at anyone. It's you can call it hypocrisy as much as you want. It's not hypocrisy. It's just having an interest in one thing and talking about one thing. I'm not omniscient. I've never claimed to be omniscient. Have claimed to be God, but haven't claimed to be omniscient. So, whereas I could argue that your God that you claim exists claims to be omniscient and knows everything and is aware of everyone's suffering and still does fuck all. So, I'm still better than him. Anyways. Blue Collar Heathen says, this is difficult to navigate. What kind of population percentage are we talking about in these countries? I suspect very low. An armed ex-Muslim enclave will likely be targeted by overwhelming. I completely agree. If we arm ex-Muslims, I feel as though they would be under a lot more scrutiny, and it would just create more problems. I suspect that the ex-Muslim, if it was easier for people to leave Islam, if people could just leave and people would leave them alone in these countries, the ex-Muslim percentage would be much higher. For example, if Islam was on the same level as Christianity in terms of the fucks people give about it, I feel as though there would be a much bigger ex-Muslim community. Right now, we have a big closeted ex-Muslim community, and we have a lot of people who have doubts, who feel like they can't voice them, and that's sad. Ex-Muslim Somali Voices says the only safer ex-Muslims in the West are those who have actually been ostracized. The ones who live in Orthodox families are still at huge risk and similar to those in Muslim majority countries. Completely agree. Obviously, the added for those in Muslim countries is the state coming for them, but many ex-Muslims in the West are still at huge risk. Completely agree. A lot of our families are violent. A lot of our families will kick us out of our homes. They will give us ultimatums. It's still difficult, but of course, it's not as difficult as it is in the East. Let me just scroll down. A lot of people having discussions, which I love. Phil Susan says, Faye, you are getting better with each video that you post. I'm glad that there's been a progression in my content. I would love to do this permanently if it was like feasible, but it's not because there are no Zionists. I'm not getting paid for this. So, yeah, I love talking. Like, I feel like talking is something that I'm really good at, and I want to invest more in. I've had my moments to shine on the BBC. I've had my speech in Bristol, and I'm hoping for way more opportunities in the future. And like I said, if you guys know any contacts or you want me to speak anywhere, please do, reach out to me through my DMs on Twitter or through my email address. It should be in the about section of my channel. So yeah. JLo says, what I don't get is how often Muslims become religious after fleeing to the West. Some apostates, but many double down. I think the reason for Muslims becoming more religious here in the West, a lot of the time Muslims who flee from other countries are Muslim minorities, so like Ahmadis, Shias, Sufis, all of that stuff, who are also persecuted in Muslim countries, Sunni Muslim countries anyway. And also it's the feeling, like, I feel as though people who didn't grow up religious or very religious wouldn't understand it, because you invest so much into religion when you become a fundamentalist in it. You invest so much of your time, so much of your energy, and to reject all of that is a really difficult decision to make, because it's admitting that you're wrong. It's admitting that you've wasted your time. It's admitting that in a sense you've wasted so much of your life when you could have been doing other things. So a lot of people double down when they have those doubts, because they don't want to feel like they've wasted their life, which I kind of understand, because I went through the same thing. And I'm very sympathetic to that. But, I'm all for life is too short, live your life, do what you have to do. So, yeah. Good afternoon, Jim Bojo. Good afternoon, Dave of the North. Everyone is better than Allah. I'm just looking for some questions here. Is that not an issue? Jim Bojo says, is that not an issue with religious communities that by their very nature they make impositions and approbations with those outside the faith? I'm not against people preaching what they believe. It's more the air of, because then you still have a choice of being like Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, I used to engage with a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses back in the day, because I felt like they could relate to me so much when I was a Muslim. But I don't think that proselytizing or preaching necessarily is force. I think that people should be able to share what they believe. It's a free society. You can say what you want, don't care. It's more the impositions in politics and the imposition in the education system that I don't like. I think that while I don't think that religious studies should be like eradicated from the education system, I do think that it should be taught as though it's like history or mythology, because then you're putting it in terms that's like, this is a choice rather than this is an ultimate truth. Completely against faith schools. I think that faith schools should absolutely not be a thing. Community centers, mosques, religious places of practice, fair enough. I think that they should be better regulated by the government, but I think fair enough, have them, I've got nothing against that, but I hate the idea of faith schools, because I personally went to one and I had the experience there. It sucks. It's the worst system. I made a video about it. You can go look for it if you want. Ahmed Mohammed said, Ya Allah, I'm awesome without you, Allah. I don't need you in my life. There is no place in my heart for you, Allah. I hate you, Allah, and I'm so happy to leave you. I am so happy that you said that, because that was my awesome without Allah video, and I got so much shit for that, because they were like, who are you addressing if you're not addressing Allah? I'm addressing Allah, but he's like fictional, so it's fine. Dave of the North said, did I miss your thoughts on the bridge incident? I briefly addressed it before, but it was more in terms of like people using that whole narrative to promote the idea that we need gun laws here, like we need access to guns here in the UK. The bridge incident was a tragedy. I don't really want to make a statement about it now because I don't want to hijack the fact that it's a tragedy. I'll probably make a video about it at some point next week or the week after. Like, I just want to give it some time. I just want to think about it. I want to read all the stories, all the articles that come out. The dumbest thing that came out so far, like this is something that I want to comment on, was that stupid article about him being bullied, like the terrorist being bullied. Like, that's such a stupid fucking argument. There has been not a single person alive that I have met that has, I've never met a person alive that hasn't been bullied in school. Everyone has been bullied in school. It doesn't make us want to join ISIS. Like, it's such a dumb argument, and I think it was the Mirror who wrote that article. Fuck you guys. It's such a dumb argument, and I can't believe you're trying to make us sympathize with a man who literally got convicted of terrorism, of making a plot to blow up the trade center. I can't remember which trade center. You're gonna have to forgive me for that, but it was in London, and then killed 2 people fresh, like a couple of days ago. Like, it's so ridiculous to me. You're better than Allah. How high are you? Allah burns people forever. I'm way better than Allah. Everyone, Hitler is better than Allah. Okay, Hitler is fucking better than Allah. Grow up. Nigel Sukram said, a few years back, some militiamen in Texas showed up armed to a mosque to protest Islam. It was a Nation of Islam church. Counter protesters with more guns showed up, and the militiamen went home. Yeah, see, like, fuck all of that. I hate the idea of guns being in a civil society. Look, the argument is, for me, like, really simply in my head, is that guns are solely used for violence. Like, the argument you can make with a knife is that it has multi-purpose. Like, you can cut vegetables with it, you can cook with it. Like, a knife has a purpose outside, like, killing people. Guns only are used for violence. We don't need them in a civil society. We don't need to put them in the hands of civilians. Yes, have them for police, have them for the army, whatever the fuck, but we don't need them in our civil society. We don't need them. I don't want them. Fuck them. Don't like them. Ahmed Saeed says, Allah has failed many times to properly deliver his divine message. Thank you. He has. You wouldn't have so many disagreements. You wouldn't have so many sects within Islam. You would not have so much criticism if Allah's message was clear, and it's so obvious that it isn't clear. So, goodbye. Ahmed Saeed said, I'd certainly would do a better job at delivering messages if I was an almighty, omnipotent being. Thank you. The Ghost says, I have a question. Please feel free to post it. I know you are not a fan of mine, but go ahead and post it. We're just looking through the chat. You guys talk really fast. Ex-Muslim Somali Voices says, to add to... Oh, fuck, I've lost it. To add to at JLo's question, I can speak at least when I hear from Somalis in the West, they become more insular. Suddenly kids are put in more extreme Salafi Islamic schools. Exactly. You don't wanna isolate minority communities because it makes them even more aggressive. We need to understand minority communities. We need to integrate with them. We need to invite them into our celebrations, go into their celebrations. I believe in that. We need to make living a pleasant experience for everybody. Can we just get off our high horses and just live nicely? Like, I don't think it's that difficult. Jim Bojo says, we have access to guns. I own several, but licensing made it impossible for the individual responsible to get one. I agree. With America, I think it's a little bit more difficult, for sure, because you guys have your, right to arms within your constitution. I definitely think you need to license them a bit better. I don't know too much about that argument. I have said that I'm quite ignorant in that whole debate, but as far as I'm aware, we've never legalized gun ownership here in the UK, at least not as long as I've been alive, and I don't want them here. I just don't want them here. Muhammad, yeah, okay. Dave of the North says, I hate sympathizing with the perpetrator of a crime. It's so stupid to me that they would try to do that, that the Mirror would try to do that. Blue Collar Heathen said, just realized the base word for fornication flagged your comment. I put it through as per Faye's wish. Thank you. Please don't auto flag. Anything that gets auto flagged, please allow it in the chat. I want people to have their say. I don't care what they have to say. Let people say what they want to say. And the chat, even if you're watching this afterwards, like after the live stream is over, the chat is available if you open it. So just so you know that everyone is, you know, everyone has their say. I don't like policing free speech on my channel. Rakib, you need to calm down. You need to calm down. Oh, you're welcome. If you want to donate, go ahead. I'm not going to turn down free money, Rakib. Here's I'm saying this right now. If you want to donate, you want to be the big man and you want to donate, even though you disagree with me, please feel free to. Please feel free to. I'm not going to deny that I am all for free money. Go for it. Doesn't change the fact. Thank you for posting my Patreon. Blue Collar Heathen. You're more than welcome to donate. You know, nothing I'm saying here is disingenuous. I'm trying to be as honest as possible in my opinions. But if you want to donate, go ahead. Pakistani Atheist just updated on the whole gun license thing. It is very difficult to obtain a firearms license in the UK after the Dunblane massacre in 1996. I'll have to look up on that. I don't know too much about that. But yeah, I don't want anyone to have a gun here. Just, yeah. Rakib says, so you agree Islam gave you a career? No, because I'm not everything I say is to do with Islam. Like, I'm talking about a bunch of other stuff. I'm talking about gun laws. We're talking about the the stabbing on London Bridge. We're talking about Muslim communities. We're talking about all kinds of things here. Normally on my channel, we also have some fun time. We have mental health issues that we talk about. This is just an ad for me. So yeah, why am I asking for money? I'm not asking for money. I'm saying I'm open to donations. So please feel free to donate. Halima, like, for real, he really is here to cause a stir. He's one of those people who doesn't be quiet. But yeah. Hi, John. Welcome to the chat. Lovely to see you. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free as well. Yeah. Oh, this is lovely. This is what I missed about live streaming, is this just like this free flow conversation with everyone. And so yeah. It's just nice to be able to talk like this. It's, yeah. But yeah, the conversation's kind of petered out. There's not too many questions, so if anyone wants to share whatever they're doing today, or if anyone wants to share what they're doing today or what their plans are for today, please do feel free to do that. Halima, if you're the moderator, you are the god of this chat, do whatever you want to do. A random question from JLo. She says, can men and women be friends? Welcome, Philip. Welcome to the chat. Can men and women be friends? I think they can. I think it's... my comedic idol is Bill Burr. I really want him to adopt me. Like, I want him to be my dad. Because he makes me feel so at home anytime I'm just listening to his Monday morning podcast or I'm listening to one of his specials. He reminds me of the way that my dad used to ramble, and it just makes me feel so at home. But he is of the opinion that men and women can't be friends. I don't think that's necessarily true. I have many male friends. Some of them are younger than me, some of them are older than me. One of my closest friends, he's in a lot of my videos because there's a picture of him. I'm not going to turn my camera, but there's a picture of him in the background. He is one of my closest friends, and the idea of us being together is just literally disgusting. Like, it's gross. We've talked about it. We've thought of, like, we've had the brain experiment. It's literally a disgusting thought. He's like my brother. He's like a family member to me. I love him. But I could never think of doing anything more than just being his friend, his best friend, his close friend, his, maid of honor when it comes to that. But I could never imagine just being in a close. It's gross. But yeah, I'm of the opinion that men and women can be friends. Absolutely. Um, I think there are definitely different personality types and things like that, but in terms of me, I can definitely be friends with both. JLo, in response to that, says, my friends, bar one, are all men, so my stance is obviously yes, but I know many, including atheists, who say no. I think it depends on your personality type. So there are people that I know who've said that they can never be friends with men. Fair enough. If that's not your cup of tea, fair enough. So yeah, but I can be friends with both. I find that I make more friends with men than I do with women. I'm not sure what that's about, but I have more in terms of ratio. I have like more male friends than I do women friends. Um, hmm. Nigel Sukram, I don't know if you're referring to a team when you ask this question, but who do you like, Eagles or Dolphins? I feel like you're talking about teams. I have no idea. I don't follow any sports. Sports makes me incredibly aggressive. Um, Sports is almost like religion to me. I used to watch a lot of football here in the UK. You guys call it soccer, but most of the people in the chat would call it soccer. But I used to watch a lot of football, and I supported the team Arsenal. I still kind of do, but I don't watch football anymore, so I can't really say that. But even though I don't support any teams and I don't watch football anymore, I still have this bias against Tottenham Hotspur, which is Arsenal's rival. Like, I can't date men who support Tottenham Hotspur. Like, I can't. I still, and it just, I don't know what it is. It's just like this prejudice in my brain. So I've just avoided sport for such a long time, even though I really enjoy like watching sport. But it's like religion to me. It just puts these like really bad thoughts in my head, so I need to avoid it. But I'm thinking about getting back into it because my best friend really enjoys cricket, and then also, you know, so a lot of my friends watch football, and I want to be part of the fun. I want to be aggressive. Um, Rakib, you're like deleting all your comments. Don't ever feel like you have to delete your comments. Boy, you can have a platform on my channel. You can talk. It's okay. Um, John Peterson, sorry, I thought you were talking to somebody else. John asks, is critiquing Islam's ideas Islamophobia? No. And to assert that ex-Muslims are Islamophobic is ridiculous, because when people see us you know, on first impressions, we still come across as Muslims. I still have a Muslim name. I still celebrate Muslim holidays. You know, people still identify us as Muslims. So if you're going to claim that ex-Muslims are Islamophobic, sorry, it's homophobic, ex-Muslims are Islamophobic, you also have to say that we're like masochistic or something. I don't like the narrative that ex-Muslims are Islamophobic. I don't like it because it makes no sense. Ex-Muslims are still widely identified as Muslims by the wider public when they first meet us. So to say that would be self-defeating. Many of our family members are Muslims. Many of our friends are Muslims. Our communities are Muslims. It's ridiculous for you to say that. Islam is an idea. We have full reign to criticize it. It is not Islamophobic to criticize Islam. Islam's ideas, some of them are absolutely fucking horrendous. I would be surprised if no one to this day was criticizing Islam. I would be fucking surprised. Pakistani Atheist asks, do you think that Marginalize is a murtad on the sly? Murtad means apostate. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I want to let him identify him, him as himself. Obviously, he's a very progressive Muslim if he is a Muslim, and I don't want to assert that he isn't. But I like Majid. I like Majid a lot. I don't agree with everything he says, but I like Majid a lot. So I don't want to discredit him in the slightest. Ex-Muslim Somali Voices says, I'm learning, and later in my adult life I have male friends, but I had to unlearn what I was taught about that before I could build such friendships. It happened to me later in my life. I agree. Like, I didn't have any male friends, and I was I didn't have friends as a Muslim. Like, I didn't have real friends who I could, like, sit down and bitch to. Like, I didn't. And it wasn't until I left Islam that I made like these really deep connections with people who weren't my family members, and I realized that there's a wider society outside Islam. Blue Collar Heathen says, at Rakib, sorry my dear, I don't swing that way. I won't fuck you, not even if you buy me dinner. Sorry, try elsewhere. Rakib, this isn't a dating site. I'm sorry. Thank you for timing him out. I think he needs a little break, but don't delete his comments. Like, let his comments stay. It's okay. Don't post scores for Arsenal versus Norwich. Thank you for the shade, Rakbear Bungbra. I love Arsenal. I don't follow them anymore, but I love Arsenal. Yeah, send all the comments through. I don't mind them. I don't mind them staying. You can abuse your power, but limit it. Limit your power. Pakistani Atheist said, Islam is cancer, Muslims are cancer patients. We are the surgeons, and our ideas are chemotherapy. Everybody's got their delusions. Everybody's got their delusions. Anyone who denies that they have delusions is fucking lying. I'm an atheist. I consider myself to be quite a critical thinker. I consider myself to be logical. But I would be fucking lying if I said that I don't have delusions. Everyone has delusions, and I think that people should be entitled to them. Because, again, I don't think they're ever going to disappear until people stop fearing dying. And everybody fears dying, Obviously, Islam has its ugly side, and that's something that we constantly need to talk about. I'm not discrediting that in the slightest, but I don't think that people should just, stop believing because we say so. People should be open to listening to new ideas. People should be open to believing what they want to believe, and that's what I'm about. I've said in many videos that I'm not here to steal anyone's faith. If you and I don't think I could. If you genuinely believe in what you believe, I don't think I could ever have that power over you to steal what you believe. If you truly believe what you believe, you're going to believe it regardless of what I say, and that's fine. Blue Collar Heathen says, my take is that if Islam and Christianity behave more like pagans and heathens, I'd leave them alone. I agree. I think that we should regard like these major religions as mythologies rather than that's why sometimes when I'm feeling extra petty, I'll just put like things that Muslims in a hostile way say to me, and I'll just put them in like Viking terms, because it's mythology. It's just stupid things that we believe as human beings, as evolved apes. It's just things we believe. So yeah. John says, every ex-Muslims I've encountered has said that bigotry of Muslims is wrong. It's about critiquing. I completely agree. Bigotry of any kind. Well, bigotry against bigotry isn't bad. But bigotry against groups of people, generalizing people, is bad. It's bad, and I don't know why people are fighting in the other corner and saying that, oh yeah, we should be bigoted towards this group of people. If anything, you're going to make them more hostile. Don't be bigoted towards groups of people. Be open-minded to them. Encourage them to be open-minded towards you. Live happily. Just get along with people. I get it. People are fucking annoying. We hate people. But we gotta get along. There is no other way. We gotta get along. Nigel Sukram says, what happened in Speaker's Corner with Zara K and that tall dude in the feeler hat? He kept saying people were trying to kick his ass. What happened? I'm not entirely, because I wasn't there. I only heard about it after the fact. So the thing that happened with Zara was that she got threatened in Speaker's Corner when we went together, and she had taken a video of him threatening her. which she later reported to the police, which was stupid and disgusting, and I don't understand. I don't understand people's obsession with the things that they believe and why they can't just get along. So it's just silly. You believe in a sky fairy. I don't believe he's there. You know, I believe that if a bird shits on my arm, it's bad luck for that day. I know a lot of you guys will say it's good luck. It's not good luck. Every time a bird has shit on me, it has been bad luck for me. I have delusions. People have delusions. Let's just get the fuck along. Let's just talk about our dumb ideas together and have a conversation. It's not that hard. So Halima says, I just want to say this is quote the best live you've done. I consume a lot of your vids. This one is top. Thank you. This is why I like live streams, and that's why I really wanted to do live streams again. Blue Collar Heathen said, if they adopted more of a you do you approach in their theology rather than demanding that. Then I completely agree. If Muslims, Christians, and everyone the fuck else that wants us to believe in whatever the hell they believe just approached it with a live or let live kind of ideology, things would be so much easier. Things would be so much easier, and I could live with it better. But people aren't like that. Here's a question. Okay, Rakib's got a question. Where should a man who identifies as a woman go? So, a trans woman go in the men's toilet or a ladies' toilet? If they present as female, they should go to a female toilet. I don't know why we're still having this conversation. It's a fucking toilet. You go there to shit. Like, just do your thing and get out. Like, what are you Okay, what are people doing in toilets that this is an argument that we're still having? What are people doing in toilets? Am I missing out? Like, am I out of this, like, toilet party that y'all are having? Like, what is going on? If someone is presenting as female, okay, they look like a woman, they should go into a woman's toilet. If someone looks like a man, they should go into a men's toilet. In my opinion, the toilets should be broken up not by female and male. They should be broken up as adult and children. Just, adults go to adult toilets, do your fucking shit, get out. Okay, it's a like, what are you doing in toilets? It's a disgusting place. Okay? And, like, if we're really concerned about children, make a children's toilet. That's what I think. I think that solves a lot of the issues that we're having. Headcase says, I wish you all of the best. I hope you have a wonderful stream. You're an amazing person. It's fine. Welcome to the stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. You're welcome to utilize your freedom of speech, Rakib. You're welcome here. Thank you, JLo. Where I live, a toilet is a toilet. None of them genitalia. A toilet's a toilet. Like, in your house, do you separate male and female toilets? No, because you go in there to shit or to shower if you have, like, a shower in there. You do your business and you get out. Like, just go and shit and then come out. It's not that difficult. Why are we still having this conversation in 2019? Just as long as you're not peeing on the fucking street, it's fine. I don't get why Ahmed Muhammad says, I don't get why Muslims get mad when we share our thoughts about Allah and the weak God. I mean, if you believe in him and that he is so powerful, let him deal. Thank you. Just let Allah deal with it. Let Allah deal with it. Okay, so Rakib said, what if a man who identifies as a female but is not transgender? Then I don't know. Again, I don't care who, like, honestly, real talk, like, I can't speak for everybody else, but in terms of me, in my opinion, if I was in a female bathroom and a man walked in to use the toilet, I'm not going to make a fuss about it. If, like, I'm a Londoner, I don't talk to people outside, okay? I'm a Londoner, I don't give a fuck what other people do. If a man walked into the women's toilet and wanted to use the toilet, I literally would not even question it. I would let him do his business. I'd leave the toilet as soon as I was done. Like, it's not an issue for me. Pakistani Atheist said, do you watch or play cricket? I've never played cricket. Alicia, who's my best friend, is desperately trying to get me into cricket. But my issue is she supports New Zealand because she likes the team. She's not from New Zealand. She's not a New Zealand citizen. She's Indian. Her dad supports India, but she supports New Zealand. And her whole thing is like, oh, I support New Zealand because they're a good team, which I'm like, I feel like that's better than supporting a team just because you're from there. But I'm having a hard time deciding what team I should support. Like, I don't know. I want to get into cricket, but it seems like an absurdly complicated game, first of all, and second of all, I don't know what team I would support if I did like watch cricket. JLo says, in Denmark, lots of toilet facilities are not marked for one or the other. It's a non-issue. Even at schools, shopping centers, it's not a problem. And it shouldn't be a problem. What are you doing in toilets that it's so important that you need a women's club and a men's club? What are you doing in there? Oh, okay, Rakib, that's not necessary. You don't... That's like me... I'm not even going to address it. Like, that's such a dumb comment to make. You need to fix up. Pakistani Atheist. Cricket is epic. Support Bangladesh. It's always rewarding supporting the underdog. That's true. That's why I like supporting the underdog. You know what? I probably would support Bangladesh. I need to read up on if they have controversies. Because that's going to be... Because I know Pakistan has a lot of controversies with their cricket team. So, yeah, I probably would support Bangladesh if I did watch cricket. Just because I'm from there, was born there. Probably would. Oh, yes, John Peterson, you may have a wrench. I forgot that I could do that. You may have a wrench. You are now a moderator for the channel. Nigel Sukram says, do you think that the far-right platform has a soft spot for ex-Muslims, or is it going away? I don't like the far-right. I really don't like the far-right. That's not to say that I'm against people who are conservative, but I don't like the far-right. I think that a lot of our narratives are utilized by the far-right to promote anti-Muslim bigotry. I don't like the word Islamophobia. I think it's used to promote anti-Muslim bigotry. And at the end of the day, many far-right, like politicians and far-right people, are extremely racist, which I'm a brown person. I'm completely against racism. I don't know if they have a soft spot for us. I think they sometimes hijack our narrative to use it for their own gain. But I don't know. I don't know if they have a soft spot for us. Rakib. Okay, yeah, I'm good. Join me in my streams, dude. Happy that you're having a good time. Just please avoid from making non-arguments. I think that people won't like that. We're talking about toilets and you're talking about fucking animals. Like, it's a bit off the topic, but yeah, you're welcome. Everyone is welcome in my stream. It's always been welcome in my stream, on my channel, on my Twitter. Free speech has always been welcome. JLo says it's been illegal since 2015. Okay, that's not my argument. Not, I'm not getting into that. The far right. So Halima says the far right are as ignorant about the world around them as Islamists are of the world around them. The far right wouldn't differentiate from an ex-Muslim from a Muslim, and that's kind of true. I don't really understand why the left is so sympathetic towards like Islamism, like not Muslims. Islamism. Like, I don't know why the left are so sympathetic, because Islam is a far-right ideology. You know, it's totalitarian, it's authoritarian. Islam is a very right-wing ideology. So I'm not entirely sure why the politics is so messed up right now. Pakistani Atheist says, I converse with Salafis regularly on live streams. It is as if they have sacrificed the dunya completely for the akhirah. Such a sad outlook on life. That's what my life was before I left Islam. I'd completely, like, I make so many videos and I talk about so many different experiences I have, and there's more that I want to make, because I feel like I'm experiencing everything I should have experienced when I was like 12 to 14 now in my early 20s. And it's just sad that, and like I went to dinner with Zara, Victoria Guggenheim, and Marwa or Mimsy Vids yesterday, and we were talking, and Zara was saying that when she was a little girl, when she was like 10 or 11, she used to do these drama classes, and she stopped because she realized that it was haram. And I think that that's just so incredibly sad that we would give so much up for a belief that essentially is not true, at least to us. Like, obviously, truth is subjective, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into the semantics of it. But, like we gave up so much to be Muslims, and then we left, and now we're being punished because we left Islam, by our communities, by our by fucking everybody. Nobody's on our side. Let's be real. Like, I feel as though if I didn't have the Muslim background that I had, I could have invested so much into my artwork. I could have invested so much into my talking, into my writing, into, even music. Like, I still have a dream that I want to be a drummer, and I just can't right now. I don't have the money to fund it, and also my neighbors would fucking kill me. So, like, we gave up so much to be like this picture perfect Muslim for Allah, and now it's really difficult to do that because those opportunities are either closed or we just don't have time for them in adulthood. So yeah, it's kind of sad. Welcome, Susubena. I'm not sure what the heartbreak is for, but welcome and enjoy the stream. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. Do you guys want to keep going, or should we wrap it up? Like, what are you guys feeling? If you haven't shared it, please do feel free to. Please do feel free to share the stream on Twitter or on your social medias. Have people join in the conversation. I am doing just like a relaxed general Q&A. Questions can be about anything. Doesn't have to be about Islam or politics or anything controversial. You can ask me what my favorite color is. You can ask me anything. Go for it. I know it's an hour in, so I should probably put an ad in here. All my social media links are in the description below. I have a Patreon. I have a PayPal. I recently released so much on Redbubble that I still have to create a proper page for, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. I have the mods in the conversation who'll probably share the links. But yeah, that's what we're doing today. I'll probably close off in like 30 minutes. So yeah. Pakistani Atheist says, although my parents were strict when it came to praying and dating, they had no issue with music and drama. I think for most non-Salafis, they have very little knowledge of the hadiths. My parents, my family, especially after my dad became quite religious, were quite strict about music, dancing, intermingling, even just really having non-Muslim friends. Anything fun was banned by Islam. So Blue Collar Heathen says that he's good for another 20 minutes or so. Okay, great. We'll finish in like 30 minutes. But thank you for joining us. It's been fun. Like, I like doing this. JLo says, someday I'll be happy to perhaps explain a little about the far left and their seemingly weird support for Islam from my experience. I'd love that. If you want a voice on my channel, please do get in touch, because I've had a few people on my channel, but I've not live streamed with anyone on my channel, well, except for Zara. So yeah, if you want to do that, we can arrange something, JLo. Philip says, did you get Disney Plus in the UK yet? I don't think it's here until next year. I know Alicia's going to get Disney Plus, and I'm hopefully going to get Netflix at the end of this year, because I really want to watch the Witcher series. Witcher is like one of my favorite. Well, the Witcher as a game series is really, really good. Well, the second one and the third one was immaculate. It was a perfect game. I haven't had the pleasure of playing it fully yet, but I really want to. And I've read all the books. I think that Andrzej Sapkowski, I think that's how you say his name, is a brilliant writer. Obviously, he wrote in Polish, so I haven't like got the full experience, but I read it in English. I've read all his books in English, and they're quite interesting, and creative, and I just love that entire world. Halima says, Islamic fundamentalists and white supremacist far right are the same. They share a whole lot in common. The only difference is that the Western left is going against one and playing dolls with the other, which I agree with. I think it's really, really strange. Blue Collar Heathen says, have you considered making a video outlining some of the terminology of Islam is? You've got more than a couple of viewers without that background. I am considering doing that, but the thing is that because most of Islam is in Arabic, like the Quran, the Hadith, the Tafsirs, like everything is in Arabic, is going to be a very long list of terms. I can do a poll on Twitter and see like what terms people want explained, and then I can go over them. Obviously, there's the obvious ones like kafir, mushrik, murtad, like those ones are easy to explain, and people use them quite frequently. But I need to find like what terms are like used frequently enough for me to make a video about it. But that's a good idea. I might consider doing that. Thank you for that. Nigel Sukram, what's your opinion on Ilhan Omar? I don't know too much about her. I don't pay attention to American politics. I've been criticized for not paying attention to American politics, but I don't pay attention to American politics very much. So I don't know much about her. I know that Imam Tawhidi doesn't like her, and I find Imam Tawhidi really shady. So I don't know. I don't know much about her. Gulid Ali, have you seen the YouTube channel Socrates' Son? He refutes the Speaker's Corner Dawa guys. Highly recommend it. I haven't seen it. If I'm completely honest, I don't consume a lot of skeptic or ex-Muslim content because it's all I talk about. And when I come on YouTube to watch some stuff, I just want to relax. Most of the information I get is from Twitter, I think, like all the opinions and stuff. But if it's interesting, I'll have a look. We'll have a look. So ex-Muslim Somali Voices, I agree. Oh, sorry. JLo says that I agree that they're the same. That being that the far-right movement and the Islamist movement. I don't agree entirely on how they portrayed the left with how you portray the left, but again, the conversation needs more nuance than the chats allow here, which I agree. Yeah. Have I done any Muhammad art pieces? Asks Paul. I've done one. I have a video on my channel where I drew Muhammad I believe it was for Blasphemy Day or something. Yeah, it was for Blasphemy Day. I drew Muhammad for Blasphemy Day. You can check that out. And can you guys see him? He's here. This is Muhammad. He's in the background of all my videos now because blasphemy is important. We need people to blaspheme. Do you guys have any other comments or questions? We're probably going to close in about 15 or so minutes. So if you guys have any questions or comments that you would like to share, it doesn't have to be anything specific. It's just a general Q&A. Pakistani Atheist says, you should draw a picture of Ali Dawah. He would love that. I'm not going to say anything about that because let's just say we have something in the works on that front. I've just been I haven't been in a very creative mindset in the last 3 months because I've been stressed with spotty employment. But once I'm a little bit more stable, I can invest more time into my creative outlets. Let's just say that. But something is in the works. Don't worry about that. Blue Collar Heathen says blasphemy is a victimless crime. And it is. We should not be policing people's thoughts. We should not be policing people's thoughts. It's ridiculous that there are countries in the world who are doing that. It's disgusting. It's an Orwellian nightmare, and I hate it. Halima says, okay, I think you're having a conversation with JLo. It's fine. You guys keep going. It's great. And for those of you who are watching this after the fact, after the stream is over, you can access the live chat, even if you're not part of the stream. Paul says, do you like sailing or island hopping? I've never done either, but I really want to learn how to sail. I really, really want to learn how to sail. I'm obsessed with, not pirate culture, but like sailing culture. I don't know if that's a culture. I really want to learn how to sail. I really want, I have a really strange relationship with water and the sea. Like I can't swim very well, but I feel like I can swim for survival. I love sea creatures. I love ships, like old-timey ships. I love pirate lore, like the mystery that surrounds them. So I would really love to learn how to sail, but I've not done it yet. Thank you for sharing my Blasphemy Day video, John. Orwellian Nightmare is another thing I need to put on a t-shirt, don't I? You should just write these down in a book. There's so many we're an island in the UK. UK is an island, so I'm sure they have sailing classes here as well. I don't have money. So yeah. Yeah, I know. I live on an island with a rich sailing history. Our navy, or it was anyway, was the greatest navy for the world to ever see. I wish that I had the money to learn to sail, because that's what I want. I even considered joining the navy. So I could learn to sail. But I have a problem with authority, so I can't really be part of the... I've had this conversation so many times with my friend Simon, who's also in the background of my videos. He's one of my best friends. I've had this conversation with him so many times, like, I want to join the army, but you have a problem with authority. Yeah, that's true. You can't be part of the army. Like, I really want to. But I just feel like it would be a bad idea. Oh, I don't need a GoFundMe. I have a Patreon. I have a PayPal account. I have a merch line now that I need to make a proper web page for. Go do that. The GoFundMe there. I don't need to make a GoFundMe. I'm not in crisis, but it would be nice to have something. To have some free money is nice. Paul, you'd be the sexiest sailor with an eye patch. Maybe. I don't know. Dave of the North says, I wonder if you'd adapt in the army. To be honest, I don't know. It's still something that I want to do, and I feel like it's something I want to do before I turn 30. I want to be part of the army because I want to serve my country, and I think I want the experience of being in the army also. Like, right now, my whole thing with life is just experiencing things. I've spoken to a few people about joining the army. It's still something that I have in mind. It was something that was a very prevalent thought when I was leaving Islam, because it was, I didn't need any skills. They would train me, things like that. I consider it an honorable service, but I also want, I think in my brain, it's very romanticized. So I want a fairly objective view of what it's like to be in the army. I want to see how it works. So yeah, it's still very much in the cards for me, I think. But I have a problem with authority, which is a problem for the army. I don't want to create problems. I feel like they have enough problems as it is. Like, they're the army. Oh, for those of you who don't know, you can also give me super chats, so you're welcome to do that. Try not to shill too much. I hate shilling. It feels icky. But yeah. We got 10 more minutes, so any closing thoughts, closing questions, let me know. I'm just gonna head to Twitter to see what's going on there, and if anybody's lost, because I always get tweets after the fact, like, where was this live stream? Where else would it be? Don't yell at me because you couldn't figure out that I was live streaming on my channel. David of the North says, I was in basic for US Army. You should seek out someone in the UK Army. Not sure how they compare. Simon, who is, like I said, my best friend, he did cadets, and I think he served for 2 years. I was looking at mental health positions in the army. That's what I wanted to do in the army. So that's what I want to do. I think, but I'm, like I said, and I feel as though I won't know until I do it. It's still something that I want to do, but I can't do this if I was in the army, for example. I can't live stream if I'm in the army. I feel like it would be so problematic. And this is something that I really enjoy doing right now. So yeah, maybe I should apply as a reservist or something. I don't know. But yeah. Watch Full Metal Jacket before joining. That's a good one. Gulid Ali said, what are your top 3 best movies that you've watched? I go through phases. So right now I'm watching a lot of old movies that I didn't watch. I only just watched Scarface a few days ago. Thursday was when I watched Scarface. So yeah. Oh, thank you for Dave of the North for giving me $2. That's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I can't believe, like, I think it was you. You did like a poll, you did like a list of things where you were like, oh, in order of how much I like them. My favorite movies are Star Wars, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. How dare you? Lord of the Rings is above all of those. Lord of the Rings is the like the best series of movies since I was a kid. It's the best series of movies that I have seen. I love Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is my obsession. It's always been my obsession. And I can't believe that you would put it in third after Star Wars and Harry Potter. I love The Matrix. Matrix is one of my favorite movies. I love Gladiator. Gladiator is one of my favorite movies. My battery's dying. We're gonna need to finish soon. Gladiator is one of my favorite movies. My favorite movie of this year was The Joker. I loved The Joker. Didn't think a second was wasted in that movie. It was amazing. My favorite animated movie is The Road to El Dorado. I watched that so many times as a kid. I'm pretty sure I know every single word to that movie. I love it. I don't know why it's not given more credit. Like, I love that movie. Last question from Nigel Sukram. Wait, I'm just going to plug in my charger just so my camera doesn't die. Are you not entertained? Indeed. Oh, sorry. So, last question from Nigel Sukram. As a non-Muslim, and I wanted to ask or find out about Islam, do I have to ask an ex-Muslim or an imam? Thanks for the live stream. I think the best person to ask is a Muslim, like a Salafi fundamentalist Muslim. That's how you can get the purest form of how Islam is presented and also what Islam is. Like, you don't have to argue with them, like all of that jazz. But I think the best expression that you can get is to get the answers from like a Salafist fundamentalist Muslim, because that is the purest form of like modern day fundamentalist Islam. But I don't have a problem with you asking anybody. I think that everybody's opinions are valid. Islam, while the Quran is monolithic, there's a claim that it's never changed. Muslims aren't monolithic. So, you know, everyone's going to have a different opinion. I've never met two Muslims who agree on everything in the faith. Never. Not once. And I used to be around fundamentalist circles. You'd think that they were more or less, more or less the same, but they're not. There's loads and loads of differences between Muslims and what they think that different parts of Islam are. Imagine me being a cadet. I haven't seen Chinatown, Hellraiser, or Bringing Out the Dead. So that I need to add those if they're that good. John, you gotta run? Okay. We'll talk soon. Thank you for joining me in the stream, John. Phil Susum says, have you tried to figure out how to help get out closet ex-Muslims into the open? I don't do a lot of the groundwork. A lot of people approach me personally to get advice, and that's all I can really give. I don't like giving advice because I feel as though I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't want to put anybody in any kind of danger, and it is quite dangerous to leave Islam. So a lot of people approach me and they often tell me their entire situation, and then I can kind of give more targeted advice. But I don't like giving wholesale advice because everyone's situation is kind of difficult. If they're in other countries, I usually forward them to Council of Ex-Muslims, Humanists, or Faith to Faithless. Here in the UK, they do a lot of groundwork in other countries, and they attempt to get prisoners of conscience, ex-Muslims, LGBTQ people in these other countries out. So that's what they specialize in. But yeah, it's difficult. It's a really, really difficult thing to do. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't know. There's no formula, is what I'm saying. What Orwell books would you recommend? Sorry, I was like reading the chat. What Orwell books would you recommend from Paul? All of them. They're all great. I love all of his work, but I like 1984. I like Burmese Days. I like Animal Farm, obviously, but his whole thing, like a lot of his works were banned when they were published because they were like too edgy. But I love Orwell's work. It really, really resonates with me. Philip says, I watched The Irishman recently, but my cousins wanted to kick my butt because of the way it ended. I really want to watch The Irishman. I really, really want to watch The Irishman. Don't tell me anything. I haven't seen it. Does that mean that the ending is disappointing? Am I going to be disappointed? I'm not disappointed by good movies. So if it's good, it's good. Like, it's good. So we are getting close to an hour and 30 minutes. I think I'm going to close off. Thank you all for joining me. And I hope you've enjoyed this stream. We had some ups, we had some downs, we had a good time. It's been a restful Sunday. And I hope that, you guys had your questions answered. I know a lot of the times that I do live streams, y'all are all like, oh, why don't you answer our questions? It's kind of difficult when you're covering a topic to answer everybody's questions. That's why I like to reserve questions for the end. But, it's nice to also do these Q&A videos where anybody can just come up and ask me anything. It's nice. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Thank you all. Thank you to all my moderators, to Blue Collar Heathen, to John, to Halima, and I think I made someone else a moderator, but I've forgotten. Thank you, all of you, for being here and for, having a chat with me. And thank you to everyone, good or bad, likes me, doesn't like me, for joining me and, sharing your thoughts. Until the next one, I'll probably release a video Wednesday. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's a couple of videos planned in the pipeline. So I'll probably see you Wednesday, and I will talk to you all soon. Goodbye. My nail is preventing me from ending the stream.